Recording in progress.
Thank you, thank you, Tanisha. So, Director Simone.
A lot of feedback coming from somewhere.
Oh, Dr. Rob is on 2 devices, so I think that's what's causing it. You may need to.
Good morning and happy New Year. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you all honor and praise for this new day. We thank you for sparing all of the lives to see this new year, this new opportunity to bring you glory. We pray that you will be among us today in this meeting, that you would once again enlighten us and bind us together and give us the wisdom, the strategies, the insight to continue to impact the community, to help to transform, to uplift, to inspire. We pray for our speaker today, for our leadership, for our president, and for this great organization, that you will continue to be among us and to grow us and to continue to empower us to do this very important work. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Good morning again. Let's raise our cups, mugs, and glass to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
To the Commonwealth of the
To the
Bahamas.
Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Sorry, I was muted when I was inviting you to do that. Thank you so much, Tanisha. All right, so for those who joined us after we started, very warm welcome to the meeting and Happy New Year to everyone as we write the new chapter of 2023 in our various lives and in vocation. Dr. Rob, I believe, is traveling and has craved our indulgence to kind of tweak our agenda a little bit this morning to facilitate his giving his message and then boarding a flight. And so I ask your permission to allow us to bring his slot portion of the meeting forward, and then we take the usual meeting format after he speaks. Are there any objections? Great. If there are no objections, then I now that feedback. And now invite Director of Vocational Services, Achelin, to introduce Dr. Rob, who is no stranger, but to formally introduce him as our speaker this morning.
Good morning once again and Happy New Year. Dr. Robinson serves as the President and Chief Executive Officer of the University College of the Cayman Islands. He has more than 25 years of experience leading award-winning organizations in the public, private, and non-for-profit sectors. He served as a business faculty member, MBA director, dean of business, vice president of academic affairs, and the first president of the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute. He holds a doctorate in management and organization from the Stirling University in Scotland, a Master of Studies in Environmental Law from Vermont Law School, Master of Public Administration from the University in Canada, postgraduate diploma in international management from the University of London, postgraduate certificate in conflict resolution, Queen Margaret University, Scotland, graduate diploma in international development from the London School of Economics and Political Science, executive certificate, innovation and strategy from Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and executive certificate, leadership and negotiation from Harvard University. In 2016, Dr. Robinson was named a Fulbright Specialist by the U.S. Department of State and an emerging leader in Americas by Global Affairs Canada. In 2022, he was named a Senior Research Fellow with the School of Advanced Studies, University of London. He's published more than 65 peer-reviewed articles and books, primarily on education and workforce development. He is a member of the editorial board of the peer-reviewed Florida Political Science Association Journal, the Florida Political Chronicle. He is a Rotary International Paul Harris Fellow, and he is my sponsor for Rotary Means Business and the Rotary Club of Nassau Sunrise. Please help me welcome our special guest, Rotarian Robert Robinson.
So Dr. Rob, you may have to your devices if they're in the same room. Do you need to share your screen?
Yes.
Because one of your devices.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're hearing you.
I can't hear you on your side, but I'll be sharing my screen. It says host disabled screen sharing.
You should be able to. I wasn't sure which of the devices you wanted me to
There we go.
use.
Good morning, everyone. I'm having some difficulty with my computers this morning. My apologies. I'm currently in a hotel in Miami. Pretty much chaos here in the US trying to fly these days. And so bear with me while we get this going. You've already heard more than enough about who I am. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you this morning, and I'll quickly go through these slides, and then I'm going to have to open up the other computer so I can hear you. I'm not sure what's going on with the computers, but bear with me. So 2023 is a big year. The European Union has declared 2023 as the year of skills in recognition of the fact that this issue of skills is very important, not only in the Bahamas, obviously, but also in Europe and across the world. Similarly, the United States Chamber of Commerce issued a report in December that said, excuse me, that 2023 will see a massive problem, if you will, with respect to the skills gap, and we'll kind of cover a little bit on what that is. But it's important to recognize the skills gap has been around for a while. Many of you in Nassau remember there have been discussions about it over the past number of years. It was recognized in 2012 by the OECD as a big issue, and it continues to be so in 2023. So I think you'll see a lot of attention on this subject. Briefly, and some of you have seen this slide before, the skills gap is caused by three major factors. Technology continues to change, almost daily. People are using mobile phones to educate themselves, to do all kinds of transactions and things. And so the level of skills that a individual has to have in the workplace needs to stay current with the technology that we have. Globalization continues to expand, notwithstanding the fact that we've had COVID-19. People are seeing options available to them in different areas of the world, including with respect to certifications of skills, which is an important issue. And demographics continues to be a concern for many Western countries, including the United Kingdom and Europe, which is why they've identified the 2023 as the year of skills. So, and the issue around demographics essentially is that we're getting older, or many of us are. I know many of you in RCNS are not getting older for some reason. I don't know why that is, but I seem to be getting older. So, and many people in the West are. Also of interest, just as an aside, probably in the next few weeks, India will become the largest country by population in the world, and everybody has assumed, obviously, that China has held that for quite some time and would continue to do that, but that's not the case. So, in any case, in Europe, excuse me. In Europe, the European Union has issued some reports talking about, bringing new people into the trades, if you will, in particular, but also technology field. And so they're also talking, though, about reskilling and upskilling. Europe sees it as an issue of competitiveness. And as a result, as I mentioned, they have identified 2023 as the year of skills. They've also established something called Digital Europe. This is a program to fund specific degrees in technology at the bachelor's and master's levels. We have in the Cayman Islands applied a few months ago for a grant from the European Union. It hasn't been publicly announced yet, but we will receive a grant for about 1.5 million euros to essentially set up a green jobs economy program, which will train technicians in solar, for example, but also the use of technology to improve the conditions of the country. You'll see similar grant programs available. Canada has some. We'll speak to Canada in just a minute. And so there will be a fair amount of funding available for training in specific areas and opportunities for schools to jump on these. The last quote was from 2019. It's an IBM quote. It's interesting that many companies face concerns about the skills gap. However, most are not doing much about it. And unfortunately, that's one of the concerns I have about the Bahamas and some other countries. There's a fair amount of rhetoric about the skills gap. Oftentimes you'll see a headline about, 300 foreign workers are brought into a specific project, not only in Bahamas, but elsewhere. So that's fine. That headline's a good way to raise some attention to it, but, it needs some action. A headline it's too late by the time the headline's in the paper. Skills gap, again, from SHRM's perspective, the Society for Human Resource Management, talks to the fact that almost 3/4, or in fact more than 3/4 of HR recruiters find that there are significant skills gaps in terms of hiring. Jobs go unfilled, or alternatively, they go filled with people who are not meeting the minimum requirements. And by skills, we're looking at a range of skills, from soft skills, aptitude, attitude, emotional intelligence, working with other people, managing change. But the big ones are digital skills and technical skills. At our university, what we're doing is requiring that everyone take a course or a set of courses in digital skills to graduate, whether it doesn't matter what program you're in, nursing, cosmetology, anything. And so they will have some certifications in digital skills. And I think that will stand them in good stead for future employment opportunities. The essential skills identified by the European Union include these, some of which are fairly basic. The leadership skill is a little different than you may anticipate, because leadership in today's environment also requires that you manage people via technology. And so leadership here is nuanced by the fact that it needs to include that particular issue. Emotional intelligence, again, dealing with people. Digital and coding skills is technology. Adapting is really about managing change. Technology skills, these are both the data skills, but more importantly, the TVET type skills. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce has stated that 2023 will continue to create problems with respect to some skills like auto mechanics, for example, which is a technology skill as well in terms of information technology, but also things like carpentry and plumbing and electrical, which we all need. We've seen natural disasters take out electrical systems. Like, who fixes those? An entry-level carpenter without even the full carpenter certificate in the US now is able to start at about $25 an hour and work himself or herself up in the ranks. Creativity and innovation, finding solutions as and when they might occur, understanding data and being able to use it to make decisions, and then critical thinking. So the EU has done quite a bit of work on this, and I think you'll see more of this over the Caribbean as it rolls out, 2023 rolls out. So in the Bahamas, linking this to the Bahamas, I think it's important to look back at the National Development Plan, and we have the author of that plan on the call today. Felix Stubbs put this together in 2016, and it's really an admirable piece of work, which I must say, and this is a personal comment, Felix, not something about you, but I'm disappointed that it hasn't really been used to the extent that it could have to drive some of the issues that are identified in the plan. So one of the points it did address, though, was the fact that there is a pressing skills gap issue in 2016, and that again has been evident in the Bahamas for some time. In part as a result of the NDP, a survey was conducted by BTVI in 2019 and 2021, and it suggests that more than 60% of Bahamian employers have concerns about the skill sets and quality of prospective employees. So they have training programs themselves to try to address some of those issues. The skills we're talking about are both the soft and hard skills that we mentioned earlier, and I don't think either one of those could be minimized. The specific skills, though, are IT. There's a big tourism industry, obviously, in the Bahamas. It requires a lot of IT skills to be able to stay ahead of the curve in terms of registration of guests and management of finances, et cetera. And so at all levels, the IT component was identified in both surveys as being pretty important for the future economic growth and competitiveness of the country. And certainly in the Cayman Islands, we see the same thing. General office skills and technical skills, these are the hard skills of carpentry, plumbing, et cetera. And unfortunately, at most schools, including at BTVI, enrollment in those programs continues to be soft, and I use that word diplomatically. So the skills gap is neither new nor unique to the Bahamas. For example, obviously in the Cayman Islands, we're doing quite a bit about it. We are the first country in the Caribbean that has been certified as a National Center for Construction, Education, and Research Center, an NCCER center. The Bahamas is moving towards that certification. It's a globally recognized US-based certification. Similar concerns about skills gaps are evident in Jamaica and the Turks and Caicos. They have an increasing interest in strategic focus on those skills, using surveys, partnership of industry and academia, certifications, and digital academies in all of those countries. Of interest as well to this group is you will receive, or you perhaps have received yesterday, a survey from Rotary, from our district, from the district governor. I thank Carla Stubbs and Felix Stubbs for moving this forward. We have a survey for Rotarians across the district trying to find out what the status of the skills gap is in our Rotary district, because obviously this is Vocation Month. So in terms of academic responses, and I won't be too much longer because I am heading for a flight here, which has been delayed now for 2 days. It's not going that far, but we still have problems here in the US. So one of the problems with respect to the skills gap is most academic institutions have a system at play where they have, courses that run from September to December, January to April, and they attempt to put basically a round peg into a square hole. That's not going to work in today's world generally, and it certainly won't work in the skills. So most academic responses that have been successful have had shorter courses that are more flexible. They allow people to come in and out. They're stackable, and they're industry certified. So it is one thing to, claim I'm a carpenter. My dad's been a carpenter. I've worked in carpentry for 10 years. But if you don't have an industry certification to support that, it's just rhetoric. New courses need to be considered to meet the demands of the new economy, and they should at least partially be virtual, particularly in an economy like the Bahamas, where it's spread over a wide geographic distance, but also in other countries. So we, in particular in the Cayman Islands, are focusing on opportunities for virtual training, which will not only be virtual, but will afford some opportunity for hands-on. Now, the problem with virtual has been, and we've seen this in COVID-19, people have aversion to it. And the aversion is primarily because the faculty are not trained properly in the learning experience. They've just imported their on-ground course to an online environment, and that's not the way of the world today. There are far more opportunities for virtual reality, for example. I mean, you can learn things like welding and get AWS, American Welding Society certification, almost fully online. And we haven't really picked up and maintained our momentum with respect to that in the Caribbean. We want to have options earlier for students. So, for example, we're looking at some significant dual enrollment programs in the Cayman Islands, which will provide opportunities for students coming out of grade 12 to work in industry right away, because they will have gained certification through their high school years. There has to be practical hands-on work experience as well. During the COVID environment at BTVI, we piloted this program called Boot Camp, where a lot of the work was done online, but they physically came in small groups, socially distanced, to show that they had the competency to do things face-to-face. And again, the global certifications are critical. So CompTIA and Cisco are primarily IT oriented certifications. NCCER is the one for the trades, which I think you'll see more of. Some of the biggest companies operating on construction projects in the Bahamas use NCCER certified employees. Now, you can work on their sites without the NCCER, but you'll come in as a laborer, basically. You won't get paid the same rates as a journeyman, if you will. And so the NCCER is particularly important for moving up and making it a career, not just a job. And also City and Guilds is important as well. And I think you'll see increased use of all of those in the Caribbean and also in the Bahamas. Just two more slides. Canada has a future skills operation in play now. This is a network of partners. They've identified something similar to the European Union's Year of Skills. So they have a public-private partnership of government and industry looking at the skills that are required and increasingly will be required, and how to address those. So FSC, I know Ms. O'Brien is very interested in this. This FSC is a very interesting site to see what is being done by a country to build its competitiveness over time. And I think that's the key. You don't have to do this about the skills issue if you don't want to, but you will increasingly lose global competitiveness advantages, because even in the Caribbean, as I mentioned, other countries are aggressively pursuing it. So in summary, change is pervasive. I mean, you might be best in class today, but you may not be tomorrow for a variety of reasons. It's important to think about how to stay ahead. COVID-19 basically has accelerated change. I mean, a lot of institutions are now, really reflecting on what has changed as a result of COVID-19 and implementing it. And then organizations and individuals must be prepared for that change. Lifelong learning, obviously, is the key. And again, I come back to the quote from IBM, which suggests that many companies are aware of these trends and facts, but unfortunately are not really doing much about it. So, it's one of those things where we can see the precipice ahead of us, and unfortunately, a lot of people aren't really doing much about it. I have a few references to close, and I will try to switch back to my other computer. This is the skills gap here, obviously, with the bridge coming into play for people to cross it. Thank you for your attention. Apologies for the systems issues that we seem to be facing. And I will stop sharing here if I can. And I think that's the presentation.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rob. And before we do the vote of thanks, I know you have to run, but I don't know if you have time to take even one or two questions. Do you? Okay. Dr. Rob, are you hearing? Okay, I don't think Dr. Rob is hearing us, but I think that was an awesome presentation. For those who joined late, we will be posting this on the YouTube channel for you to rewatch from the beginning. We brought Dr. Rob forward as he's currently So just to say thank you on behalf of the club, I'll now invite PP Sophia to do the vote of thanks.
Good morning, fellow Rotarians. Dr. Robinson, I know you have to run, but we wanted to just say thank you very much for very, very timely presentation. As always, anytime you speak, it's cause for us to pause and listen carefully to what you have to say. You have been talking about cutting edge technology and the need to transition to this mode of learning for a very long time. In fact, from you joined the club, I could remember your first presentation to us. And this again just reminds us that we need to get on the ball really and follow some of the suggestions that you're making, particularly in the educational arena. So thank you very much as you move, as you try to catch that flight, talk about technology and things slowing down. We want to again say thank you to you, and please stay in touch. I need to speak to you personally, just a shout out. So please send me your phone number, and on behalf of the club, have a wonderful day, safe flight, and safe travel to the Cayman Islands.
Thank you, PP Sophia. Beautifully done, and we wish him safe travels. For those who joined us late, we had to pivot this morning and we took Dr. Rob a bit early in the program. As you heard just now, he's traveling. But this is Vocational Services Month. And the objective of Rotary is a philosophical statement of Rotary's purpose and the responsibility of Rotarians. The concept of vocational services is rooted in the second object, which calls on Rotarians to encourage and foster. And those objectives are to encourage and foster high ethical ideals and standards in business and profession, to recognize the worthiness of all useful occupations, to dignify the Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve the society, to appeal to the ideal of service in personal, business, and community life, and to advance international understanding and goodwill and peace through a world fellowship of businessmen and professional men and women united in the ideal of service. And Paul Harris said that each Rotarian is a connecting link between the idealism of Rotary and their trade or profession. And so it means that we need to share whatever we do, each one bring one, not just in membership, but we do so in our vacation as well. I know there are some challenges and when I say challenges, we have a challenge for this month for every Rotarian to take someone to work, to expose a young person to your particular skill or profession. And so more information will come on that. So let me welcome you again to the meeting and now invite Secretary Kemi to do the official welcome. As I explained, we've just pivoted and we already had our guest speaker. So Secretary Kemi, please do the honors. Thank you.
Hello and good morning and welcome to our first meeting of the year. Oh, apologies, my hair. But welcome to everyone. I'm happy to see everyone virtually for our first meeting. I see our guest speaker, it looks like Dr. Bob already had to leave, but I agree with all of the sentiments and definitely, certainly thank you to him and warm welcome to him, our fellow Rotarian. Before I welcome anyone else, are there any Rotarians in the meeting who has a guest they would like to welcome?
Good morning, Rotarians and guests. I have my husband on, his Shervin Evans. If he's able to unmute, he can say hello.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Evans. Any other visitors or any other Rotarians who has a visitor? Then I would just like to say warm welcome to our former fellow Rotarian, Janelle Cambridge. If you wish to unmute and say hi. And I think that's everyone I see in the chat. So warm welcome to everyone, and hopefully we'll see each other in person very, very soon.
Thank you, Secretary Kemi. I will now invite our Family of Rotary Chair, Tamara, to do milestones recognition.
Good morning again, everyone, and Happy New Year. We have two birthday celebrants this week. The beautiful ladies, Therese and Marsha, they celebrated yesterday. Jan 4th, happy birthday, ladies. And Barry is celebrating his rotiversary. Barry Smith. Barry is celebrating 5 years in Rotary. So Barry, I know you're on. Happy rotiversary. Back to you, President Donat.
Thank you, Chairman Tamara, for being on the ball. And of course, we congratulate those who are celebrating birthdays and anniversaries and Rotary anniversaries in particular. I'll now ask our Saj. Saj, we haven't heard you in a while. I hope you have a great New Year's joke for us. Please go ahead. You have 3 minutes to extract some fines and to tell us a great joke.
All right, thank you very much, Donna. And happy New Year, everyone, all the very best. 1 second. All right, so in terms of the fine for today, I see there are quite a few people late. Records falling, so that would be a $2 fine for you guys who know who you are. Also, as well, if you have a picture or video currently on time, that will be an additional fine. That's pretty simple to do. But other than that, let me go ahead and give you guys a look. All right, so a young boy in a barber shop. The barber whispers, "This is the dumbest kid in the world. Watch while I quote it." The barber puts out 2 quarters in the air, then calls the boy over and asks, "Which do you want, son?" The boy takes the quarter and says, "What did I tell you?" That kid never learned. Later, the customer leaves. He's the same young boy for the ice cream parlor. "Hey, son, may I ask you a question? Why did you take the quarters instead of the dollar?" The boy licked his spoon and replied, "Because the day of the dollar is..." Fellow Rotarian, yes, thank you very much. Back to you, President.
I did not. I don't know if anybody else got that joke, but the audio was not very clear. We couldn't hear you. So for that, a $5 fine. We need to hear you. And we need to also get the joke. But thank you so much, Saj. Thanks for that. We'll now take announcements. Are there any announcements? All right, there seem to be none. I'm going to use this slot to just encourage everyone to do their vision boards. I don't know, maybe Director Simone could back me up on this one. It is something that works. I've been doing vision boards for years, from my days in the insurance business. Everything that you want to achieve, write them down. And there are ways to create your vision boards. Back in the day, we did our vision boards on paper. And we collected pictures from magazines and we put them together and made an attractive vision board. And that is still an option that I think works well as well. But there are also apps on your phone that you can use to create your vision board. I say that to say I created my vision board during COVID, and I created one in 2021. And almost everything that I had on that vision board manifested itself in my life. And so it's a personal testimony and something that I'd want to see everyone do, achieve whatever it is that your heart desires. So just to plug, I'm encouraging everyone to create their vision board. If you want to know which app I've used, I could share mine. one of the things I had on my vision board came through, and it was after it happened that I remembered putting it on my vision board. So I want to encourage everyone to do so. One of the things on my vision board is to see us getting back out to projects, coming out in our numbers. So I'm adding that to my vision board for 2023, so I can see your beautiful faces out in the community serving. Even if you didn't come to a meeting, but I see you at a project, that would have met my dream, my goal for this club, that we're a club of action, we're people of action doing good in the community. And so as you create those vision boards, please create some time to give back, not just to attend the meeting, but to give back to one project of choice as we, make our Rotary experience worthwhile. So again, I want to encourage you to do so. If there are any announcements, I just saw a note pop up from Director Archelin. You have an announcement, you may go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning again and Happy New Year. I just want to make reference to our email sent out by DG Deborah in reference to the skills year. So you will see popping up in the chat, not in the chat, in our various WhatsApp group, a link for the survey. And I'll just use about 60 seconds to just highlight what she says. Fellow Rotarians, this is a message from our DG. Fellow Rotarians, vocational service calls on us to empower others by using their skills and expertise to address community needs and help others discover new professional opportunities and interests. Many of the Caribbean countries in our district have or have had a European influence. As you are aware, 2023, as Dr. Bob said earlier, 2023 has been identified as the year of skills by the European Union. This designation reflects the ongoing challenge with respect to the skills gap. Globally, in Europe, America, and throughout the Caribbean, employers have identified concerns related to these needs. As Rotarians, we have identified the importance of vocational service as important to building strong, equitable, and sustainable communities. It is important to properly understand and address the skills gap to effectively achieve the goals of vocational service and improve our communities. In conjunction with the district's commitment to vocational service and improving life in the Caribbean, we are launching a skills gap survey. The purpose of this research is to understand the workforce training skills required in the countries within District 7020 and to be able to compete in an increasingly competitive global environment. So the survey results will be widely shared to assist in achieving the Rotary mission of providing service to others. As individual survey responses will be kept confidential and only aggregated data will be used. So please direct all questions on the survey to Rotarian Bob Robertson, and we'll actually send his email address for you, as well as the survey link. Director Duran will assist us with that. We'll send Dr. Robinson email for questions and the Survey Monkey survey. It will be opened until January 20th. And so we're encouraging, our DG is encouraging all Rotarians to please complete the survey. Thank you very much, President.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Are there any other updates on vacation plans for Vocational Services Month?
Yeah, we would actually stay tuned because there are some things that we have, we'll tweak a little and we would send them to you in a minute. But it is definitely exciting, and so we would get back to you shortly.
Okay, thank you. So great to see Rotarian Karen Major, Rotarian Lavelle, long time no see. Great to see you in the meeting. Who else is long time no see? And Janelle, of course. And welcome, Rotarian Angelica. I know you have babysitting, well, you have someone who would keep you up at night. So to see you here this early is quite impressive. Hope the little princess is doing great. Who is this long time no see? I think everybody else we've seen. Welcome, Caroline, our newly minted, well-to-be Rotarian. Rotarian William, PP William, good to see you in the meeting as well. All right, so any other announcements? All right, Director Akeisha, do we have a raffle this morning? If we do, could you go ahead and announce the raffle? So we can.
Hi, good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. We do have a raffle prize courtesy of the Red Team. So we have a $50 gas voucher, and you're able to go ahead and purchase tickets 1 for $5 or 3 for $10. Please go ahead and place your ticket request in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for your support. Have a great day.
Okay. All right. Thank you. PP Sophia, you're asking about our return to in-person meeting. We'll return to in-person meeting next Thursday. All right. This week's meeting, we had to move to online again. We're trying to get someone at Crypto Isle to assist us with setting up the meetings in the morning. I could have done it, but I'm actually out of the country. My flight was canceled. So like Dr. Rob, I'm stuck. I was stuck in Jamaica. I just got to Florida late this morning, about 12:20 a.m. So I'm actually using my phone because my computer, my bag got stolen at the airport with my computer and everything. So due back in Nassau on Sunday, and we're looking at putting someone in place to assist us with setting up the meeting at Crypto Isle, because it doesn't just happen. A hybrid meeting requires that we set up the technology, right, so that people online can hear and those in the room can participate as well. So we apologize for moving back to online for the last 2 meetings, but we were forced to do so because we need to have some things in place. And also the fact that when our speaker is online, it creates a particular challenge if the audio and the setup is not done properly. When we have an in-person speaker, then it can work because both can hear. When it's online, sometimes the persons in the room can't hear the speaker very well. All right, so Crypto Isle has informed me that they now have someone designated to help with the setup to ensure that our audio and everything works well. All right, so Thursday's meeting, our next meeting will be hybrid. We'll return to in-person meeting, and we look forward to seeing as many of you as possible. The last couple of meetings, we've only had maybe 5 or 6 persons in the room. So we need a lot of improvement. Perhaps we could pause and get some ideas as to how we can motivate you to come back to the in-person meetings. If there are some suggestions, I'd love to hear them while we're doing our raffle tickets. So may I hear from you, please? What can we do to get you back out in the meeting? So on a typical meeting, we will have 40, 45, up to 47 people coming online, and in the room, the maximum I've seen is about 20 something. And we've had as low as 5 people in the room. So it is a little concerning because we're paying to use the room, but people are not showing up to the meetings. So, you know, I am open to suggestions. I'm open to constructive criticisms. If it is that we're doing something wrong, let us know so that we can improve that, but we need to get back to seeing persons physically in the meeting. It's not just the meeting, but when we have projects as well, we'll see 3 and 5, you know, persons are not. So if it is COVID, I understand, but at some point we need to, COVID is here forever. And if it is that we've changed the landscape of our club to one of online meeting, then we need to take that decision rather than have 2 or 3 people in the room at 7 a.m. There were some meetings that we literally had to start late, not because I want to start late, but because there was no one in the room when we're ready to start. So may I have some feedback from members as to what we could do differently to get you back to an in-person meeting? And we know that some persons will prefer to be online. It's convenient. You don't have to get dressed. You could sit and have on your pajamas and just close your camera. But at the end of the day, that's not what Rotary is about. So let me hear from you, please. Any suggestions as to what we could do? And as someone who turns up at 6 a.m. and 6:15 a.m., I understand even having someone there to help me set up. It's been a task since the start of the year. You know, so on occasions I will have persons show up to assist, but it's not consistent. So yes, there are persons who will show up early, maybe around 6:30 to help, but the technology sometimes we have little glitches that we need to sort out in time for 7 a.m. It's very sad when you're ready to start and there are 3 people sitting in the room.
President Donna, my suggestion would be to cancel some of the online meetings, not do a hybrid meeting, literally cancel them. I mean, I think I live the furthest from Crypto Isle in this club, and I'm able to get out there for 7 a.m. In fact, I'm one of the 6:45ers who get out there on Thursday mornings. So I think all of us need to make the effort. That's why we're in Rotary, and it follows through for service projects, etc. as well. So if you are a member of the Rotary Club, anywhere you go, you have to make an effort to be out there. Other clubs are really suffering with this virtual platform. They're losing membership, they're losing interest. The fellowship, the service is not there. So my suggestion would be that we cancel some of the meetings and hold the in-person meetings. We're back to in-person.
Okay, I hear you, and perhaps we need to canvass the views of other members as it relates to that, because I know we had a vote as to whether we wanted an in-person only, we wanted hybrid, or we wanted an online meeting, and the vote was resounding yes for hybrid. So I wouldn't want to just cancel it without hearing and canvassing the majority of the members to hear if this is what they want. Certainly pre-COVID, we had our version of what we called a hybrid meeting, where persons who were traveling, who genuinely could not be in the room, were able to benefit from. And I remember when I was a secretary, there were times when I had to travel and I had the benefit of participating in a meeting, even though I was not physically here. So I know that with 72 members, you're gonna have persons who cannot be there physically, but for the majority to not be there, is a little concerning. So I'll probably ask membership, Director Simone, if we could do a mini survey, canvass our members as to what we could do differently. I know sometimes you don't like to vocalize what their views in this setting, and perhaps canvass it privately, but I still want to hear openly what would cause persons to not show at all, or not show up in there. There are times when we waste money on food. We provide breakfast, we have little treats from Family of Rotary, and we literally give it away after the meeting because persons don't show. It's difficult to even predict how many people will show up. So when we don't have the meeting, and person says, why aren't we meeting in person? And I'm like, but you aren't coming. So yes, PE Dino, let me hear you, please.
I know that our club we had a hybrid before the pandemic, but and people could attend who were traveling, but I think that even then we had persons who use that as an excuse to not come out to a physical meeting. So I think that maybe when we first started, when our club first started, we had a mandatory requirement for people to attend a certain percentage of meetings at the home club. And so even if they were attending physical meetings elsewhere, we required them to do, I think it might have been 50% of the meetings at the home club. We may be able to have something like that where 50% of the meetings per month are in person, and that should give people the opportunity to plan, but also to come out to a meeting or do a makeup and stuff to get their attendance requirements to stay connected.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, PE Dino. Anybody else? Any other comments? All right, so
I agree with PED.
yes, go ahead.
I said I agree with PED.
Thank you. Any other comments, feedback, ideas? All right, okay, so Director Simone, can we do canvass the members on whether they would agree to a certain number of in-person meetings being actually inputted in our bylaws, or just to get a temperature check on what the views of our members are.
Madam President, may I make a comment?
Yes, PDG Felix.
I'm trying to hold my tongue, but I don't think a survey is going to address it. I think we have a significant issue, and I think we should try to address it in the club assembly, in-person club assembly.
Yeah, okay. We did have one. There's one that's in the calendar that should be on this side of the year, but the last one we had, we still didn't have persons showing up. So I'm happy to have one, but I don't want persons not coming again.
But if you have a club assembly and people know the importance of it and they don't show, that means they have no interest.
Okay, I think the last one we had 20 something of 70 members. So, and this is not new, you know, this is not new. I've been the secretary twice. I've seen it before. The facts are there to show. It's not a COVID issue. This happened even pre-COVID, that we would not have good attendance. It was makeup and so on that would help up with the membership. So we still have members who have committed to be Rotarians, but still can't find the time to attend a meeting or a project.
But that's contradictory, because you can't be a committed Rotarian and not find the time.
Well, true. That's an oxymoron for you to say you're committed. But when we do the membership surveys, they talk about being committed. And I say committed because when you look at the attendance relative to projects, it's a big difference, you know. Even if we have a 60% attendance at meetings, the attendance at project is probably 10%. And I don't want to say, oh, there are other clubs having the same issues, even though I've heard other presidents, even at the president's council level, being concerned about it too, their attendance at in-person meeting. My concern is Rotary Club of Nassau Sunrise. And how
I agree. And my concern, in fact, I don't want to be controversial. My question is, I've had this question for quite a while. I'm talking not just months, but years. You know, do we have a club of 72 members, or should it be a club of 40?
Excellent question.
PDG Felix, you were the membership, you were in charge. I think you're still a part of the membership, and that there are growth requirements that are imposed on the clubs annually. So I think the important thing is that we have to bring quality members who will attend meetings, who will participate in projects. Maybe we need to extend our, you know, the requirements in terms of not just being at 2 or 3 meetings. And yes, we have the list of things that they have to do to get rid of the red ribbon. But for some people, the red ribbon is there for 2 years. For some, it's a very short time. It is something that we are challenged in this regard, and maybe the membership committee needs to come together and see how we can brainstorm different ideas. But in terms of growth, we do have growth requirements as well.
But hold on a minute now. You said we have growth requirements. We have the challenge to grow globally, but that doesn't mean we just add numbers, right? It doesn't mean that we have a club of 100 members and only 20 are active, right? That's not the intent, right? Because all you're doing is fooling yourself, because why have 100 people on the roster if only 20 of them are going to be participants?
Exactly. Exactly. And I second that, President Donnet, because we have new members that we can't put a name, put a face to those names at all.
Right.
We have not seen some of our old members, understandably, but we have new members that have just been inducted, that have not been out to meetings right after they've been inducted. That's concerning to me.
Me too. So I'm
Hi,
wondering.
good morning. Just trying to find out if we're still recording.
Yes, we're still recording, and it's important that we have it on record. So I don't have a problem with this being recorded.
Oh, this goes on the website as well?
Yes, but there are ways to limit. There are some meetings that we've had where we limit who sees the meeting. Only persons who are members of the club, unless you share the link outside. And I would expect persons to, I manage the YouTube channel. So I know that we don't have that many views on some of the videos. So the videos are being watched. Some of them have 5 and 7. If you were to go online, you'll see that not many people have watched some of those videos. So I'm not concerned about that. I'm more concerned about us becoming a vibrant club and not just sitting behind a computer every week, that we have people of action, as we say, that we're out there doing projects, we're giving back, and we're also attending meetings. Because outside of that, then what is the purpose? You know, it can't be a handful of us who are committed to doing the work of the club. You know, so I know time is going, so this is a matter for us, and we'll let you know when we'll have our next club assembly. And honestly, we're going to space it and give enough notice so that persons can be there and to be there on time and at a time and day that would be convenient for all. Even when we do stuff on Sundays, we do it to facilitate persons who worship on Saturdays, but we still don't get the full support. So we'll canvass you as well as to which of the days will be best, and we will convene a club assembly. One of the things we have on our vision board for the club is a satellite club. And we may have to look at whether we transition some persons to the satellite club and form another online club. And then the persons who are interested in meeting in person become the members of the Rotary Club of Nassau Sunrise. But I refuse to be the president of a club that is not vibrant, that has not grown. And when I say growth, I'm not talking about numbers now. We have not moved from where we were 3 years, 4 years, 5 years ago. We're growing in numbers, but I'm not seeing growth in terms of involvement and engagement and commitment. All right, so with that said, we're now at 8 o'clock. I want to thank those who participated. If you still have comments, reach out to me personally, let me know. President Donnet, maybe you should try this. President Donnet, do this, whatever. Send your ideas, suggestions as to, if you haven't been coming out, share with me why you haven't come to the meetings, what would make you come out so that we can action some of those ideas. I would really love to see a vibrant Rotary Club of Nassau Sunrise for the final 6 months of this administration and beyond. So with that said, let me just quickly take the raffle so we can wrap up the meeting, because I know people have work. So
yeah. Give me my $50, let me go.
You're right. Your raffle prize, you're claiming it already?
Yep.
Sorry, I bought tickets.
And President Donette, please allow me to share my screen.
Yes, give me one moment. Let me bring you up. Sorry, Tanisha, I'm on my phone, so it's a little, keeps closing. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Tanisha. Oh, they found my bag. Oh, good news. My bag was found. All right, go ahead, Rotarian Tanisha.
Oh, the odds look good today.
You know, presidency-elect cannot eligible. And you got to be an attending Rotarian to win.
Janelle, you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yay.
You kicked off the new year in fine style.
It's a beautiful way to kick off the new year. Thank you.
Isn't this a Rotary raffle?
I'm sorry?
Isn't this a Rotary raffle?
Yes,
No
it is.
rules were given at the beginning. No rules were given at the beginning. All that was mentioned was purchase the tickets, and that is what I did. So thank you very much for my gift.
We took our money.
I want to take a deal with money.
Janelle is actually approved by the board to return to the club. I look forward to having more bids shortly. And that's a good start and a good welcome back. So let's make that happen.
You better hold out $50 now so that you come up and do.
Those who did not know, he was a very vibrant,
hardworking.
Yeah, very hardworking. All right, so let me invite Director Duran to do our four-way test. And after him, PED will do our final toast.
Good morning. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better fellowship?
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you, PED. Final toast.
Okay, good morning, Rotarians and guests. I'd like to invite you all to raise a glass with me to Rotary Around the World.
Rotary around the world.
Rotary around the world.
Around the world.
Okay, thank you everyone and have a wonderful day. And please prepare your vision board, share it with me if you can and if you wish. And we look forward to a successful 2023 where all our dreams come true. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Have a good day, everybody.
Do you know you didn't invite us to Starbucks, brother?
Well, you should know that's where I'd be if you cancel the in-person.